So for the last little bit of my series on what to look for when you're buying a homestead or buying a property on which to grow your, whatever you want to call it, homesteading, farmstead, the most important one, honestly, is probably money. Most people think, being able to actually purchase the property outright. How much is it going to cost? Will you be able to get funding, whether that's paying in cash or getting a loan? What types of loans are there? Things like that. There are better people than I who can discuss finances and discuss what types of loans are available depending on your situation and your needs and your desires. I'm more interested in the what happens after. I was familiar a little more with some of the things that you need to know in order to own a property. Some of the monetary concerns that you will have to think of when you are buying a property or purchasing a property is how are you going to continue to afford that property after the initial payment for the land. It includes taxes. How is the taxation schedule? Do they do it every 3 months? Is it a quarterly? Is it biannually? Does it happen every 6 months? Is it yearly? Things like that. What are the taxation rates? Are there different types of taxes? For example, if you lived in the city that I lived in, you paid the federal tax, the state tax, and a city tax. But if you lived in the township that was like not super far away, you didn't have to pay the city tax. Although a lot of times they pulled your city tax in because of your zip code. Whatever. You'll need to look into utilities. Are they necessary? What sort of utilities will you have to have? I don't just mean electricity. I mean water. I mean sewer, trash care. How are you going to get your trash taken care of? Are you able to get a dumpster? Not even are you going to, but are you allowed in the bylaws to have a dumpster on your property? Or do you have to partake in weekly trash pickup? Or do you have to take your stuff to a local dump? What kind of water system are you setting up? Are you required to set up? Do you have to be connected to some type of water, whether that's well or city? Do you have to be connected to a sewer or a septic? Or can you have, I've heard of having like little underground, almost like a septic, but they're not actually septics, tanks that you can get pumped out every so often. That way you don't have to have the whole big construction. If you are building on a property, you'll need to look at the costs for that. What kind of inspections do you need to have? What kind of permits do you need to have? Do you have to use builders, a certain builder, or can you bring someone in from outside of the area? Which, yes, I have found that there are some places they actually have like a set list of builders that you have to use, and if you don't use those, you're not building your house. Fences or things like that. Again, do you have to use a contractor? Can you build them yourself? Do you have to get a permit? Can you just throw a fence up on your property and be done with it? Same thing with sheds. Do you have to get a permit for that, or are you just allowed to put things up however you'd like? If you need to clear any brush or forestry trees, do you have to get permits for that? Are you allowed to do it? Do you have to get someone out there? A lot of this is insurance related too. So what kind of insurance do you have to have on your property? What will be the cost for that? There's just a lot of things that you really need to think about monetarily. It has nothing to do with moving. There's moving costs. Are you going to need to rent a storage unit? If you are renting your current home as you move in, will you be able to not only pay for whatever construction is going on, but also be able to afford rent? Are you going to have to move in with, say, a family member who will give you a discounted or possibly even free rent so that you'll be able to focus more of your finances onto your building? You'll have to take into account any gas money and things like that. You'll be signing paperwork and all over the place, running around, finding a notary, things like that. All of this adds up. There's a lot of costs that are hidden. When I started looking at properties, I was looking for a home. I don't really want to build my own home. I will, I guess, if I have to. But I was just looking for a property that already had a house and maybe like a bigger shed or a pole barn or something on it. I was told to have about double whatever the property cost me for repairs and bringing things up to date, making sure, especially in this area, that electrical is up to date and plumbing and things like that. The roof is good. Oh my gosh, the roof. When you have inspections, you need to try to get the best person that you can, and you'll need to have, again, money for that. So there's a lot of things you don't think about when you're buying a property, past signing that deed and getting the cool little picture with the giant key or whatever it is from your realtor. Money is most likely the thing that will be my biggest obstacle when I am purchasing a home. I've already found properties that I really, really love. No buildings on them whatsoever. Just getting them up to a livable state would probably cost double or triple what I could pay for them, meaning that I will have to save more and more. Which is why I have social media. I'm hoping I can maybe eventually monetize some of this and go towards buying a house. So again, this is just ramblings of someone who is looking for her own home. I'm not an expert in any of this, and I don't claim to be. Thank you so much. Bye.